Welcome back to Big Content. Jack, I'm Nicholas. Today, we're going to talk a lot about monetization, which we've been doing a lot on the show, which I think is important because creators want to get monetized eventually after a lot of patience, hard work, showing up every day. YouTube Shorts is now giving you an easy way to make a little bit more money. So we want to talk about YouTube Shorts coming out and saying that they will start monetizing that part of their platform come February. We're also answering two questions that I think are going to be fun to answer. What's the best ways and worst ways for a creator to go about monetization? And then Scott asks, is there a max size you'd both want to see your teams grow to avoid becoming big media? I think that's really interesting because there's, again, a romanticization of like bigger, better, more money, faster, whatever it is. I think you and me probably look at this similarly to the point where it's like, I don't think that's the answer all the time. I think a lot of it goes back to like, we build this, or I built this to be like a lifestyle brand so that I can kind of do what I want with my life and enjoy my life without getting, and I failed on this part, overstressed while doing it, but comes with the learning curve, and bigger and better is not always the answer here. So it'll be fun to kind of like jump into those things.
Bigger and better in this market surely is clearly not the answer given the layoffs. We'll talk about fear in the market, brands cutting budgets, Q4, all this type of stuff, because it's real. You know, like people wanted to be creators when money was fruitful, opportunities were there. Like you said earlier, no one wants to cut their rates. That might have to be. So we'll discuss all that. Where do you want to start? YouTube Shorts?
I want to start with YouTube Shorts. This one is super interesting because YouTube, while they don't pay a ton, I think a lot of people have this unrealistic expectation of how much you get paid by the platforms. And I will always be the first to say monetizing based off the platform itself, like YouTube paying you through Google AdSense, will always be, in my opinion, the single worst way for a creator to monetize, and the single worst way, or the single least reliable way for a creator to make a living.
Really?
Yes.
Why is that?
The money's small, right? If you're making enough money in order to, and we've touched on the topic a little bit, but like if you're making enough money to really make money off of these platforms, that means you have an audience. If you have an audience, you're going to get paid more. You're going to make more by going straight to your audience, by selling something to your audience, by working with brand deals that want to attach themselves to your audience, because you could take a much bigger chunk than YouTube is going to take out of it. There are very, very few people that are downright just straight up full-time content creators. Like, hey, all I have to do is make 3 really fun YouTube videos this week. Yeah. And I know at the end of the week, my bank account, there's going to be another $4,000 in there or some shit. Very, very rarely happens.
There is money on YouTube AdSense, to be clear.
Sure. Yeah. You get paid for it unless you are someone who is putting out weekly videos, probably anywhere from 2 to probably 4, and those videos are getting 6-figure views every time they touch down. You're probably not going to be a full-time content creator, which is why it's like that shouldn't be your goal, because those are like you see a lot of people that can do that, but the percentage realistically of people that do that, it's 1 in a million probably. So I think that's a poor way to monetize, because you can monetize much better with a much smaller, like I've talked about, like I probably had between 5,000 and 10,000 subscribers when I basically went full-time between YouTube AdSense, between working with brands, between selling my own product. If you can mix and match different types of monetization, YouTube Shorts is really interesting though, because they have the ability to make your video randomly pump off for 2 million views, 5 million views. Right. You're a perfect example of that. Someone who went from, a smaller YouTube channel, you guys are over 200,000 now. What are some of your higher performing video views when it comes to shorts? Not even like the actual content, just like numbers.
No, 48 million views.
You had a 48 million video.
48 million views, yeah.
That's going to be significant money.
So I think this is a perfect conversation. Our monetization got denied. So we cannot monetize currently because our content is repurposed content. So it's not original content to our own. And,
got him.
And so I don't want to say I wasn't expecting that. We're now creating long form content, original content on our stuff, but the stuff that's killing it in the algorithm is this repurposed content, which we knew. So I'm not tight about that at all. We haven't made $1 off YouTube since we started the company. It is not a revenue stream for us yet. So there will be a point in time where maybe the returns on these repurposed pieces of content aren't as high. We're still gaining 1,500 subscribers a day. If that drops to 100 subscribers, shorts aren't blowing up, that will probably be when I'm like, all right, let's go delete all that content and let's post strictly original stuff, go monetization and try to make some money off this. But for now, it's just like, let's build that channel up.
Yeah, if you could find a way to slowly merge the two, and then you have original content getting 48 million is outrageous.
Yeah, that's
but if you were getting 48,000
Yeah.
per, which is 1% of that,
Yeah.
off the top of my head, that might be less than that, 0.1% or something. That's
I mean, we can go through. So, like, for example, our YouTube stuff, we do Super Madden Bros, which is like our video game content Casey and I do. That gets 1,000 views long form, right? So it would have gotten 200 views or 80 views. The returns aren't crazy yet, but we're starting to build, and we post once every 2 weeks or once a week. It's not enough. If we wanted to go full on YouTube, we could, and doing it with a base would be easier. Now, it wouldn't be straight 1-to-1 conversion. Like, it's not the greatest subscriber base in the world, but we could build now. Before, there was no point to building because, we were kind of capped.
So in September of this year, just to give people a starting point for like monetization if they were to convert. And the monetization for YouTube Shorts will probably be much lower than it would be for normal YouTube videos. I don't know the exact numbers. I don't think anyone actually understands how the money is paid out for YouTube anyways. But in September, our channel collectively got 1.1 million views. That was an estimated revenue of about $4,500, $4,500. Wow. We also probably get demonetized on maybe half of our videos. Okay. If I had to take a guess at it. But that's the point here is, one, the normal person is not going to go out and rip 1 million views in a month. Two, if you are someone who will rip these YouTube Shorts at a very high level, maybe you didn't have a lot of success doing so on regular videos, but that's significant money. If you're kind of coming from nowhere and getting that's 1 million views over the course of a month. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about if you put out.
But I don't know if monetization will pay anywhere near that.
No, it won't. It definitely will be significantly less, but 1 million views on Shorts is significantly easier than normal YouTube videos. So even if they pay 10% of that payment, that's $400, $500 right there. You could probably get 5 to 10 million views on YouTube Shorts, even if you're starting tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So this is one of like the very few avenues that I'm actually high on when it comes to platform monetization for this. So if you weren't already on YouTube Shorts, like the virality of it, our highest viewed video on this channel, big content, and I haven't put out too many YouTube Shorts, but I think the last one we put out went over 5,000 views. Right. Every other video, long form, is like 200, 300, 400 views or whatever. So it's 10x right there. It's the growth stage is super, super obvious. I mean, we've been talking about TikTok, YouTube Shorts. We are literally living examples of blowing up on TikTok, blowing up on YouTube Shorts. If you need another reason, this is it, because the monetization starts in February. This is a real path to monetization for users.
It'll only get more busy, obviously, when money is involved, and it feels very much like TikTok. 2 years ago, everyone knew TikTok. Gary V's banging the drum, get on TikTok, and like I didn't take advantage of it, and I kind of wish I had, at least a little bit. And so if you are listening to this and you want to create, go get on YouTube Shorts right now.
You know what's crazy? If you asked 100 creators what their biggest regret was, maybe 99 of them will just say, I wish I had started sooner on this platform or just in general. Like if I asked you what your biggest regret as a creator was, like you wish you started on TikTok earlier.
Yeah.
So do I. That would be my biggest regret.
Wish I could dedicate. I still think I could do well on TikTok, but I just don't dedicate. Like I would go in, and same thing if I were doing YouTube Shorts. I would go in with I do YouTube Shorts or I do TikTok, because I kind of do everything, and it hurts, right? Because I posted to IG Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and I just wish I could go all in on TikTok.
I think that's like if you're starting today, I would like most people have this idea in their head that they're like, I'm a podcaster, I'm a YouTuber. It's like you gotta scratch that entire ass idea right out of your head and say like, I make YouTube Shorts, I make TikTok. You know what I mean? Like that's the idea. That's the only way to grow right now. But I do think most people regret not starting earlier. So if you're not there yet, like most people have not started on YouTube Shorts, so you're ahead of the game.
It's never too late.
No.
Never too late.
Except for maybe Facebook's a little bit late.
No, Facebook's still popping. That's the crazy thing. Yeah,
I don't know enough about Facebook to like speak on it, but I've seen like plenty of like videos and stuff with evidence to back say we're growing.
People
really.
make money off Facebook. I don't know who's on there, but someone is and someone's watching. So it's never too late. Go ahead. Go get started. Let's talk about the market. Let's talk about the current market. So crazy just market sentiment. So
speaking of like Facebook and Meta, I think they just laid off 13% of their
1,100 employees. 1,100 employees down at Meta.
Imagine that being 13% of your workforce.
That's pretty, people. That number, I was like, wow, 10,000 plus people. So you got Meta layoffs. I mean, literally every tech company has laid off 10 to 15% of their company.
You ever think about Just like a
doing
side note.
like firing my brother and doing a press release. 25% of Snapback employees are laid off.
No, I just mean the general idea of running a big company.
That
scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
You're like in your own world. You know what I mean? Like that.
No, when you don't, I think when you don't know employees, that's scary. It's a different level.
Well, it's like, okay, 13% is 1,100 people. Let's just say like times that by 9, whatever. It's almost like 10,000 employees.
Yeah.
Like you are your own world. Like Mark Zuckerberg is like a king inside Facebook.
like
You guys are in your
county.
own bubble.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you have little fires over here and you have little fires. I'm thinking about like, I just watched a new season of Game of Thrones and there's like little subplots and little storylines going on and narratives happening on this island, on this island. It's like, oh, the workers are revolting here. Oh, someone keeps like, there must be insane things just happening inside Facebook.
Well, think about like any HR situation.
Oh,
right?
there's
he's
like a
not
crazy
hearing
holiday
about,
party over here.
Yeah, he's not thinking about or hearing about anything, on employee 1,000 or below. But so ton of layoffs. You've got crypto, crazy things in the crypto market. Q4, we're in the midst of it, but it just feels like as bad as the market is, it's only going to get worse.
It feels like, the problem with today's landscape.
And then, by the way, it's not a finance podcast. The point is we'll talk about creators and what this means.
I mean, with news and media, it's so hard to actually understand what's realistic right now because you can find people that are creators that will tell you like, no, we're not really in a recession. If you look at these 3 data points and this is what you need to be looking at, you'll find a video that has that just as many views, just as many thumbs up that has literally 3 data points that are nothing to do with that. And be like, no, this is why we're in a recession. And then you'll have another one that'll be like, this is why this recession is going to be the worst one of all time. You know, it's so hard to actually believe what's happening right now. Like, I don't know if we're in the middle of a recession. I don't know if we're in the beginning of a big recession.
The one thing that I'm always going to do, at least I'll try and hold myself to it, is like get a feel for the people, right? Stay on that ground level as much as I can. And it just feels like there's nervous energy. The rent's going up. Prices are going up.
Well, that's the thing. It's like people are losing jobs and money's coming down, but everything, the prices for everything are going up exponentially.
And where will that land us? Like, I think it's just lagging behind. Like, I think there will be, I don't know if it's a big event. I don't know if it's a slow kill. I don't know what it is. I'm
definitely personally, I'm nervous on a few levels, like personally and for the business as well. Like, I'm not in a spot to be worried about anything right now, but I agree with you that I'm a little bit worried that it's lagged behind and this stuff will take a year where it's like, okay, these layoffs are happening because we're not getting paid as much, which means like the companies that would normally pay us are tightening their grips on where they want to spend their budget. And if you're not in that one, it kind of like it tightens it back to the way things should have been. But the fact that it swung so far to one side of the pendulum means that it'll have to probably swing back to the other side before it equilibrates. Same thing with like working from home versus working in the office, where it's like everyone worked in the office before COVID. COVID happened, everyone worked at home, and then you have the middle ground where people are like, oh, there should be some kind of hybrid with this. That's kind of the way the economy, I feel like, went during COVID. Now we'll go back because there was so much money out there. And yeah, that will leave us in a little bit of a vulnerable position. But that's also why I so heavily like want people to understand that you need to be cutting out as many of the people that you rely on in an economy like this. If you are,
but selling products, right? Like that's going to trim margins.
That will,
right?
it will always, I mean, it's going to trim margins. Less people are just going to buy the product overall. Less people are going to be consuming, especially in an entertainment business. Like maybe they're looking for an escape, but maybe they're like, I have real life things to worry about. Like I'm not really paying attention to as many fantasy football leagues or whatever. Like during COVID, when football almost didn't happen, we almost like lost our, 85% of our revenue off of a tweet that either said the football season's happening or the football season's not happening. So that was
gambling revenue could be down. Like everyone just had money. Stimulus checks were going on parlays, right? And everyone had bailout. And so stuff's going to get much tighter.
So how are you like preparing for this?
So I'm being a little more cautious, which, we have to balance this, right? Because the best time to grow and scale and win in business is this time, right? So if you are cash heavy, and that's what I'm kind of doing, is I'm building up cash reserves and not doing anything too crazy outside of spending 10 grand on a suite. But that's kind of, I'm now just more aware. Like I haven't done anything notable, but I'm more aware of, okay, this could be an opportunity, but we also have to be careful because there's no guarantees that, our revenue that we did last year is going to be coming through based off,
It's scary too because neither of us have been through this sort of plummet for money wise, and we won't really learn from it unless it personally affects us. Being cautious is for sure. Saving is definitely the best way to go about it, and this is without a doubt the time. And I hate that I put myself personally in a position where I kind of went cash non-heavy, whatever the opposite of that is, cash light. And I don't have a lot of savings right now. And we don't have a ton of extra wiggle room. But I do look at it like, if we can survive this and come out on the other side, we'll be pretty battle tested.
100%.
And we'll be able to survive most things that come our way afterwards. But now is the time, because there are things that you'd want to invest in that will be cheaper because no one else has the money to invest in them. So if you were someone who believed in like NFTs, all the prices are shot now. If you were someone that wanted to believe in X, Y, or Z, even businesses like private businesses, if we wanted to raise money, our valuation would be far lower than what it was a year ago, 2 years ago, which presents a great opportunity for investors, because once the economy is back up and booming again, we're going to make more money from the businesses. The other businesses that do survive this will have a lot of money to invest into companies like us, and thus the investors who invested into, things like that. It's a trickling effect. It will be seen over the next year or 2 years. I'm scared for it.
I think that's
for
important, right? You said if we get through it, we'll be battle tested. Almost, I think to a lot of people sounds like, all right, we survived 6 months or whatever, a year or two. It could be multiple years. Like this financial, like just insanity has been like a decade. Like it's been a really good decade, I feel like. Like it hasn't been a year or two. Like it's been a long extended period of time. So being conscious of this could be a while. Like we could be like this for a minute.
Yeah, which
means go work. I mean, you talk about this pendulum, right? The pendulum I saw, at least on TikTok, the trend of why am I working hard? I'm asking for a raise. I'm going to move company, all that, to now I'm looking for a job, right? Like this is why I think that the great middle part is just working hard, knowing that you got to cut your rates in this market.
You got to continue to build leverage by yourself. Like that's it, because in the down market there won't be as many opportunities, but in the up market you will be the most sought after person, company, brand, or whatever, because they saw you. You'll be looked at as bulletproof, right? If you could do it through the down parts, you'll soar during the up parts. But it's gonna be scary times for sure.
I think someone used the analogy of is it like swimming naked or something? Like everyone's swimming with the tide, but then in a down market the tide washes away, and like you see everyone who's naked or something. Like
everyone gets exposed.
Everyone gets
it's like you're in a good investor when the market's up, like everybody is, right? And you see who's for real when the market's down right now, who's a real operator, who's a real creator, who's ready to grind. When even when you're starting out, like that's even harder, because it's already hard to make it as a creator, even in a good economy. Making money, making the numbers go up, that's already hard. So if you could stick it out through the shitty parts, you'll be much better for it on the other side of it. It'll be very, very hard mentally, but like it's the only choice you have right now, because you can't affect the market, you can't swing the market, you can only play into it and play through it.
I'll throw it to the audience of like, we would love to get a pulse on your feelings as the market. It could just be your day-to-day life, or it could be as you think of being a creator. If you don't see monetization in the next 6 months, 12 months as a path, does it make you not want to create? Does it give you inspiration to go and do it because you're just doing it to do it? I'm very curious.
Yeah, me too. So Alec asks, what's the best ways and worst ways for a creator to go about monetization? While we're on the subject, I listed out like 5 or 6 ones. You might have some other ones as well. So we're going to rank our top 3 ways to monetize as a creator. Basically just 1, 2, 3 it up. Why don't you
start from the bottom or the top?
Whatever you want, baby.
I want to start from the bottom. I want to build suspense. The third best way to monetize as a creator would be getting a job as a creator. 2 caveats. 1, they pay you to be a creator. 2, they grow you as a creator. So it could grow your brand. It could actually grow your social following. I think this one is super underrated because we're big fans of don't create content for others. We've made it to that point. But I've done I still do it today. MSG Networks. I've worked with The Game Day, with Whistle Sports, with Bleacher Report. I have a stream tonight. Like, it's underrated that if someone else will pay you to be talent, that will put you on and you get a paycheck for it, that doesn't dilute your brand, I think that's a positive.
There's pros and cons.
You didn't think I'd go there, did you?
It wasn't even on my radar, because I would never be a creator for another company, but there's really vivid pros. There's really vivid cons, in my opinion. So if you look
that's why I was saying the pros are when you're at a certain level. The cons to me are
the pros could be like you're getting a steady paycheck while learning how to actually be a creator professionally. You're probably learning on someone else's dime. You're probably learning about film, about recording, audio, lighting, all that stuff. And that's like a great way to go about it. Another pro is the fact that if this is a real company, you're siphoning off some of their audience. So you're able to build a personal brand without having to start from zero, most likely. The cons are obviously like sometimes you could have capped creativity. Like if you're at an actual company, whoever's higher up will possibly step in and say like, we don't want this type of stuff. We don't want this. Even if you're passionate about something, they might kind of cut you off there. You obviously don't have the ability to monetize past what you're already making on a salary. So there's pros and cons.
And a huge con is you're dedicating time and resources to someone else instead of building your own stuff. But I just think there's a certain point where it's a positive. I'll specify Overtime does a really nice job of this, of essentially like letting their people be creators. Barstool too, right? Mm-hmm. That's a perfect example of go and create. You have a steady job. When you make it, if you make it, it's almost like a test pilot to see like, am I going to make it as a creator? Can I get big enough to where I can go do this on my own? So yeah, that's my number 3.
Well, the tough part about it is like, okay, you're a creator at Barstool and they're paying you, you're one of the better creators, right? And they're paying you 100 grand a year, 120 grand a year. If you're like, oh, I could do this on my own, where does that money start coming for you then? Right? Like then you got to turn into a business.
Yes.
You're no longer just like a creator getting paid to create. You got to start making your own products. You got to start doing whatever it is, or signing affiliate deals, because that's number 3 for me. So affiliate deals are super lucrative depending on what industry you're in. So basically the way a sponsorship deal works for the most part is a company will come and say like, hey, we want you to do a normal advertisement for us, make a 30-second, some of them will be like, hey, you do a 60-second TikTok, promote us for 10 seconds in that TikTok. Some of them will say like, hey, I want a downright like video made for us, 60 seconds about our product or about our service. Affiliate deals are when they give you, for the most part, a promo code, right? It could be BDGE, it could be Jack, it could be Snapback, whatever. And you promote that code for your audience to use on that platform, service, product, whatever. They get a discount using your code. You get a cutback on or kickback of the money that that company just made. We're in a space, fantasy, gambling, where these companies have a lot of money and they spend the majority of it on marketing. And we're a big piece of the way that they market. So for you, Underdog, I was with them. Now, Prize Picks, Mojo, companies like that, they will pay you upwards of, what's like the...
Well, DraftKings, FanDuel, $300. $500 for some of the newer sports books. They, if someone signed up with your code.
Yeah, so basically the way they'll do it is like, say, they have some formula in mind where they say, hey, the lifetime value of a single customer is $1,000. And that might be true because people just go on gambling platforms and lose a fuckload of money. So they say, hey, each customer we bring on is $1,000. If Jack's going to be able to bring us on someone through his videos, let's cut him $200 of that. So they still make $800. Jack's like, holy shit, $200 for a single person onto the platform. You guys get a promo code. So you get, it's a win-win-win all around. And if you're in a software related, a tech related industry, affiliate deals, again, you can get upwards of $300, $400. Me personally, the biggest affiliate deal we've ever had was $150 per person that we got signed up for a platform. And we got a lot of people to sign up for a platform. For that was a significant amount of money revenue-wise for us for a full year. So affiliate deals can be great. There's a lot of companies out there.
Yeah, affiliate is sports betting, gambling, fantasy. You've got finance is a huge one. And now Amazon, anyone can essentially do an affiliate deal. You post a product with the link, Amazon will give you a cut. Every industry.
Yeah, I would say the highs of the affiliate deals are very high. The lows can be super shitty. Yeah. I still have to this day companies reach out to me like, hey, we'll give you a code. You'll get $3 for everybody that buys your product. I'm like, dude, I've gotten like $150 affiliate deals. There's no chance that I would.
That's interesting because once you get that, you're like, I don't want to do any affiliate for that. But there are people who like with one video on TikTok could sell 1,000, of one item and, 3 times 1,000. It's only $3,000, but that is still great. And that person couldn't sell, 3 people in sports betting. So
yeah,
affiliate is a great model. Number 2 for me would be sell a product directly to your audience. That could be some version of merch. If you're a bicep instructor that is selling a class on, how to lift and make your biceps larger. Selling product is an incredible way to monetize as a creator. You go direct to the creator. You own. You don't have to do affiliate. The difference between affiliate and selling a product is I can't just spin up a sports book today, so I have to go affiliate. I can spin up a draft guide. I can spin up a subscription service. I can, do all those things. So selling a product's my number 2.
That was also my number 2. I specifically went with an info product. In today's world, I feel like you could sell your own product in the form of something physical, But then you have to go through the entire process of, figuring out what your product is, the blueprint of it, finding a manufacturer that will actually make it for you, making sure it's okay. Yeah. Having inventory on hand. So you need physical space. Then you need to worry about shipping costs and all the problems that come with that. So info is easy because you can kind of create any single website, and almost every website, whether it's WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, whatever, has like an e-commerce plug-in to it where you say, hey, I want to make this a product. Here it is. And they'll give you the ability to shoot out a PDF or write private blog posts or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that was my number 2 as well. It's so simple if you're able to, again, for me, it goes back to teaching people, because you teach people and teach people and teach people for free. And then you say like, hey, I've organized everything that I've taught you into this little product. That's how you get scale.
And I want to harp on that. That's your favorite thing to say. And I think it's so true, is like you post fantasy content for free all over the place. People will pay just to have it organized. So if you're delivering valuable stuff and you organize it, that is a paid product people will definitely shell out cash for.
Yes, sir. Numero 1.
Number 1, start a business. So that is taking a product and creating a business out of it. And I think that's the future of the creator economy. I think that is how you get true equity in this stuff. So if we want to go through next steps, affiliate, start with Underdog. Second, sell betting tips or maybe something along those lines. Number 1, start a sports book, right? That is the penultimate goal, in my opinion. Now, that's not easy. And you want to talk about 0.1% of people are going to be successful creators. 0.1% of people are going to be successful entrepreneurs as creators using their following. But to me, that is the top way to monetize. You can go and you can have, 100% equity, 80% equity in billion-dollar companies.
Yeah, I think that is the monetization option that gives you the highest ceiling for sure. Like you can become a millionaire, billionaire off of something like that. It's an extremely tough path to actually get there because you need leverage network wise, monetarily, financially, like all those things in order to get there. But if you can, in like 5 years, 10 years or whatever, that's definitely a path that I could see myself taking. My number 1 was a subscription, just straight up subscription, whether you do it monthly or yearly. What I've seen work really, really well for a lot of creators is it's very similar to like Patreon, and you figure out what it is exactly that you're offering to them. It could be a private episode each week. It could be a million different things. Like for us personally, we offer our fantasy rankings, our weekly in-season rankings, which we don't put out anywhere else except through our membership site. So you have to sign up, and a successful way is like you could do it by week, you could do it by month, or most people do it by month, but you can give a discounted price, 10 months, the price of 10 months for a year. There you go. You just locked in like 10 months worth of subscription.
Yes.
What this also does, gives you a lot of customizability in terms of like safety. You know what to expect monetarily week in, week out, month in, month out. So if you're making $3,000 a month off this product, you could start doing things that you try to raise that floor a little bit, but you also know exactly, you're never really going to have something that dips from, hey, we're making $3,000 a month. Like next month, we just made $200 off that. For the most part,
as long as you keep delivering.
Yeah, like not even to be scummy, but like the way that most things work, we stopped using Patreon years ago, 2 years ago at this point, I think. We still get like a $500 check each month from Patreon because people just don't cancel. People don't go through the trouble of like having to figure out how to cancel. They would literally rather give you $10 a month than figure out how to cancel that subscription. $200 a year. Yeah, we're all that's why the floor is so high, because most people don't cancel unless you do something that's like outright like egregious. Their normal state of mind is to just stay and like not really care about it. So you'll never dip down from $3,000 to like $200 a month. If anything, it'll go from like $3,000 to $2,800. And you can say, hey, maybe we offer a discount. You want a free month trial or whatever. And then after that, you could choose whether to stay on or whatnot. But I think it's a really, really safe way. And I think it's a really, really good way to slowly build up. And you could figure out, because you form a community in there, right? You give them private access to you. You give them like a community that only the strongest fans are a part of. So you're not only building your brand for your strongest fans, but you're slowly increasing your revenue. And if you can get to a point where you're like full-time off subscriptions, there will never really be a year where you're not at that floor realistically, right? If you can get to a point where you're doing 45,000, 55,000 in a year in subscriptions, the next year you're probably going to be at 70 and then 80, and then you can mix in other forms of monetization.
The types of subscriptions, right? Like gambling tips or stock market advice, that stuff, that will just waver with the market. But if you're delivering valuable information that isn't related as much to a market, cooking stuff, fantasy stuff, which will always be, but that is kind of related. If your fantasy ranking sucked, then people probably unsubscribe. I'm not subscribed, so I don't know how they are. But as I look at mine,
they're not good. Subscriptions on the on the
As I
downfall.
look at my top 3, right? Get a job creating that pays you and grows you. Sell a product. Start a business. I feel like Matthew Berry did this path, and so it wasn't who I had in mind, but got a job at ESPN, blows him up, creates his brand, starts a newsletter, starts then eventually an app, and now the fantasy life is kind of his own fantasy business.
Yeah, he's done it, bro. He's been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
He's experimented.
He's a grinder.
Experimented with a lot. He's grinded the whole time too.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. Scott asks, had a question. Is there a max size you'd both want to see your teams grow to avoid becoming big media?
Fuck big media.
So right now we have 6 people on the team full time, and we have probably like a handful, maybe probably like 2 or 3 other throughout the year that are like contractors that help us out with other things. The max size, I wouldn't have a max size number on it, but as we've experimented with different things, I've started to realize what we do and don't need. Like the next bunch of hires for us will be hopefully another developer. All right, because I've talked about wanting to bridge the gap between being a good marketing company and being a software company.
Mm-hmm.
If you have those 2 things, you can kind of unlock the world for yourself. We're very strong at the content stuff, at the media stuff. We're very weak at the development stuff. And those are the easiest things to productize pretty much, right? Because there's not a lot of smaller brands that have the ability to like build a lot of tools and products and stuff like that. I also probably need another creator that dives specifically into things that I think are hooked with monetization. So right now we're doing a lot of like lifestyle stuff, and we're doing a lot of stuff to just like build our brands and personality. And I know that will play itself out over the long run. It'll be good for us down the line. But right now we need more monetary focus. Like I would love to hire someone who's full-time just for Dynasty content, because that's like a money pit for us right now. I can't do that all the time throughout the offseason and stuff. So for me, it would be like 1 or 2 more content creators, 1 more. Developers are extremely expensive to hire. So they're like kind of unrealistic outside of raising money or making a shitload of money. So I'd like to hire another developer. And then there's other things that are probably contracted. Like I'd like to have a designer, but like I don't know what we would do with a full-time designer, because it's not like we're selling merch at like a crazy volume. Yeah. It's not like we need all these things. It's kind of like I wish I had someone there that I could just be like, hey, for this week, I just want like 1 or 2 designs for this. I would like to have someone working full-time on the Bash next year. So I think we'll probably have an intern that like completely just overlook like a community or project manager for that. So I think like.
But once you get there, you're at 10 people, right? Hypothetically. Do you think you're done?
No, definitely not. I know when I get there, I'm going to be like, okay, we need this,
then
this, and this. Here's this project. Yeah.
But I think as you look at the market, right, and people were scaling with speed because they were successful and they could add those things. So I think keeping it tight is beneficial.
Keeping it tight like when I talk about those, I don't have any plans to hire anybody in the near. As long as the market is down right now, I have no plan on spending extra luxury money on people.
Labor is cheaper over time until you kind of scale potentially too quickly, or the market takes a downturn. Then you just want to pay someone $1,000 to design 4 T-shirts instead of having them on full time. Mm-hmm. So it's tough. Is there a max size you want to both see your teams grow to? My answer would be 10 people.
Yeah, that 10 to 15 range sounds
I just have never had. Maybe I need them, and I I've said before, I admire that like you've got this long-term vision. At 10 people, that's just so many people, so many lives. Probably doing.
Let me
so
ask
much.
you, like, you're in a different spot because you guys don't have like the office space yet.
Yeah.
Would you rather hire like 2 more people or get an office space?
That we talked about this week actually. It would have to be both. Like I'm only hiring 2 creators if we're in an office space, right, where we could actually do stuff. There's no point in.
But would you get an office space without hiring them?
No.
Okay.
There's just no. It wouldn't be worth it because Alex is in LA, Riley's in.
True.
We're only 2 of us here. So, but it's worth it for Casey. Casey's like, I need to work in an office. Once we're done traveling, he doesn't want to work from home every day. So, we'll lay off 25% of our staff in the spring.
I can't wait to make announcements like that going forward. Yeah, I think 10 to 15 is probably the right mark for me. But yeah, again, I've always found like ambitiously with these projects financially, any sort of goals we set, it's like once you get there, it's like, okay, like that was cool, but like let's keep going. You know? 'Cause it's more about the process. It's more about like reaching for something. It's more about like having that thing that you're trying to attain. Because like it makes no sense if we're like, hey, we want to get a team of 10, and then we get there and it's like, okay, now what?
Well, how do you inspire? How are you going to inspire the people if they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
All right. Scott asks, you mentioned spending 10 grand on a tailgate suite and paying to go to every Monday Night Football game. Can you guys compare, contrast BDGE versus Snapback budget spend for a month? And if you set any targets for spending to ROI, do you have a monthly budget?
No.
Do you
I
feel like
I
you
can
need
answer
one?
the expenses one. I don't know what we're making, to be honest. I kind of went into this office space in this year, or these next 2 years, with like we're sending it. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna send it and see where we land at the end of it, without expectations of, because I knew how much investment was gonna go into this year. So the office space, rent, electricity, Wi-Fi, that shit is $7,500 a month. Our salaries combined, I want to say, are maybe 20. I think our expenses are about $30K a month.
Okay.
$30K a month outside of stuff that we bought for the space originally. Like, we have all the technology, we have all the software. I guess software expenses are probably like close to $3,000 maybe a month as well. And now's the point where, like, I'm not buying extra random equipment. I'm not buying all this like random stuff to put the office up, because we're like at a place where we have a foundation for it. Income wise, we have deals set up that are year long. We have deals set up that are monthly. At this point, I want to say we're basically break even every single month. Like, the money that goes out, the 30K, basically comes in, which gives me not necessarily a shelf life. We've had a couple months, as usual, July, August, September, where it's not break even, where it's pretty significantly over the expenses. So we'll bring in, I think we had a month or two, I think August, we might have brought in like 150K on except for on top of like the 30 or whatever. So that gives us a little bit of wiggle room for savings. My mindset, again, with this possible recession that we're in it, that might be coming, is, okay, if we don't sign deals where we're seeing $30,000 come in a month, which is a significant fucking amount of money, how much runway do we have? Right. And like, those expenses eat up fucking quickly. So right now, again, I went into it knowing that we would have the money to be made that would put us at break even. So I'm not going to, and this might be naive, this might be stupid of me, I'm not going to stress necessarily about, we need to cut down here a little bit, we need to make a little bit more over here. I want to see how this thing plays itself out from like a feel and energy, minorly, monetarily, but like, realistically, I know we're okay for the next like 6 months. And you'd like to hope the investments will continue to help grow those things. But that I think is our monthly expense. And that's the way I'm looking at it, is like it's the way I've always, I think, operated from like a feel standpoint, being like, this feels right. And I think it will play itself out in the long run.
Okay. Our year was tricky. We incorporated to start the year. We had contracted employees. We had Alex taking a percentage because Snapback was just kind of me.
Yeah.
9 months later, we've got 3 employees. He's contracted because he's running the agency. Agency is a separate business. Legal fees. We had a 3-month stretch where I think I paid 30 grand in legal fees, right?
Yeah.
I don't fucking email my lawyer anymore.
I kind of just like put that into the expenses too, because we had like the BDGE 3, I guess,
exactly.
that was like 100 grand in revenue, and then like but the lawyer, all that bullshit is crazy.
So I don't have a budget because we have audience, so we don't really have to market, which now, if we've made money, we should reinvest that money if we're not doing it via an office or, content was I said it would cost $50K to do Snapback Mondays, but we're not tied to that. And I actually think it'll come in way under that. The first thing that I've ever thought of kind of creating a budget and a plan for is Snapback Kitchen. So our arrangement with Pop Chew is a split rev share. They have a little bit of budget, from a top line, but they've got different brands under their company, right? So I'm like, I want to invest in this thing. Like, I want to build this. I think this could be huge for our brand. So I'm like, if we dedicate 150 grand to the brand in 2023, meaning I think we should hire someone full time to run Snapback Kitchen. So everything that comes with that, 70, 80 grand maybe, to pay them for that. So the remaining $80,000 would be like 7 grand a month over 2023. That could go to NIL deals. That could go to, paying to be sponsored on Ike's Lunch, which we have never done before, just free advertising. It could be, paying men on the street people to go hand out coupons. I don't know what it is, but that feels like something that maybe we could commit budget to. Expenses, I'd say, are around a similar, they just fluctuate. And that is the thing about business, is the thing definitely about being a creator, is your money. Like, we haven't been, things are net 60, net 90. So like our Snapchat revenue, we're owed 60 grand right now. Not like owed, it's just they pay out 2 months later. So if you don't kind of have those cash reserves, then you can't sustain. But that's kind of like, I don't really create budgets. We just don't
it's something I think we're both going to need to do within the next year or 2 years. It's something I've thought about.
It's
a lot
hard to
recently.
measure ROI on social. Like if you budget right for the office and you had set goals, you would have never thought like, oh, Ike's lunch would have come from this, right?
Yeah, but that goes back to the mindset I have. Like we're just going to send it for the year and see
Right.
where we land at the end of
Exactly.
it. You know, but I go into that not under budgeted. Like I would never go in that mindset
Right.
being like, we have, $10,000 to our name. We're going to make sure we make it all up as we go. It's like, no. I have the high level amount that I know might trickle all the way down to zero, but I'm okay with that to see what happens on the other side. Never go the other route. Yeah. And I talked about it with like if you want to be a full-time content creator, work full-time, save up for 18 months of runway and then send it. You know what I mean? Don't do the opposite because that will never work. It's the same way I operate the personal content as I do.
Right. Because if you didn't have that shelf life or you didn't have the opportunity to give it 6 months, then you might be like, shit, we got to cut someone. We got to stop doing Ike's lunch. Ike's gone. Right. And then Ike just found out right now he got fired.
They all fucking just got fired. That's like, that's the other tough part about it is we're all so like close. Like we're at a point where it feels like this all doesn't work unless all of us are here right now. And I wonder if every business, every owner, every small business owner feels that way. No, you don't think so?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
People are ruthless. 100%.
I would literally feel like if I had to cut someone from it, it would feel like we're a body and I'm cutting off a full arm or a full leg or the head or something like that, no matter which person I took out of the equation, which is why we won't fail. Like I won't let that fucking happen. It goes back to the hard work. I'll get to the point where like, okay, maybe I'm not working hard enough, but like I'll work for the next 6 months without sleeping to make sure that we're in a spot to succeed. And I know I have that drive in me, which is why I'm like kind of comfortable knowing that shit might get real, but I'm like, I'm fucking built for this. You know what I mean? Like I will grind
like if
through.
you had to start over in 6 months, you think you'd be good?
Start over.
Yeah.
Like, describe that. What do you mean by that?
This doesn't go to plan. Your YouTube channel gets shut down. You don't have employees. You just have your Twitter, Instagram, and everything you've learned.
I don't have my employees. You don't have the office. I don't have YouTube. Okay. I have nothing but like TikTok.
And
My personal TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay. I 100% realistically, I would get a job, a real job.
Yeah.
I would do exactly what I've been saying. I would get a real job. I would save up for another year and a half while making content on my free time.
Yeah.
From 5 to 9, 5 to fucking 2 in the morning. I would make as much content as I possibly could, build that back up. I would take the exact same fucking route I did 8 years ago when I started this shit again.
And I think that's real. That was a very real reaction. And that's why I wanted to ask that question, because we're sitting on top of a incredible floor right now. The floor could disappear, right? Platforms change, audiences move on, shit happens. But I think it's like, we're very honest with how we would go about it. We're not offering up advice of like, just you have 10 grand, go for it, send it. No, that's not what you should do.
The thing that would be different for me, I would not do. Well, I could probably do it through fantasy stuff on YouTube. I think, or on TikTok, it's probably much easier to build it up that way. I would do content like this by myself. I would do business and creator focused content. And the same way I built up fantasy, just by giving value for 2 years. And then at the end of 2 years, depending on the audience size, I would say, hey, I'm doing, here's a membership that I want you to be part of. Here's a newsletter that I'm going to write each week. I'm going to take on 10 creator clients that you guys pay me $100 a month. That would be my exact path. And I would start again, like year 1, maybe I made 30 grand. Year 2, 70 grand. Year 3, 200 grand. Like it would be the same path that I took earlier on, but it would be a killer. Obviously, it'd be fucking gut wrenching. And I guess the way I look at it on a personal level too, and this is, I don't want to say fucked up, but I know as long as like the audience isn't ripped out from underneath me, right? Like this all goes to shit. The office doesn't work. I have to cut all the guys together. As a personal creator, we still have a big audience. Like I'm still going to be able to monetize enough for me to live on my own by myself as a full-time content creator. Like I'll make 60 grand a year next year off of 100,000 person YouTube audience pretty fucking easily. So worst case scenario, I just go back to, living a little bit more humbly, but like the dream of this goes crashing down, which is obviously way worse than anything else happening.
And I just want to close, different point, but this is why being a creator, we encourage all our clients, get equity, find a way to start a business that can live without your audience. Use it while you have it, right? While you're hot, go do your thing, but like capitalize, because some people, this is very realistic scenario. You know, Steve will do it, right? 7 million or whatever he lost subscribers. I don't know what he's doing now. Big enough, he'll be okay. Like you said, he's got that floor, but that changes, you know, your
it goes back to your lifestyle. It's like if you get used to the 7 million subscriber type lifestyle, which is an extravagant one, you know, for me, the only experience I need is this here. Like I don't have a car. You know what I mean? Like I don't lose the things that I don't care about, right? Like if it's that big and you're living out in LA, it's like, okay, maybe you can't live in a mansion. Maybe you can't drive a Lambo around. Maybe you don't have the jewelry. Maybe you're not this, that, and the other thing. Like for me, I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. So it's like losing this would be the thing that like scrapes me down to the bottom.
Yeah.
1 hour and 4 minutes. I think it's a record for us. That's going to be all for this week's episode of Big Content. If you're listening via podcast, subscribe. If you're on the YouTube channel, do the same thing. Leave us a rating and review if you're on the podcast. I don't know if we
leave us a comment. Comments are cool.
Comments are definitely cool. We get a couple of those there. every once in a while, we get a couple of them. But thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Love you. Do you just think everyone's lazy?
Not everyone, but a F ton of people.
Since COVID.
Yeah, 100%. Work from home. And it's fine. Like, you don't need to work 1,000,000% all the time. But the people who do, I think, are simply ahead.
It's kind of crazy because I feel myself being a little bit lazier recently.
100%. I've gotten complacent. I mean, we had the conversation last week about complacency. And I'm not saying like I'm going to go, psycho mode, work 4,800 hours a day. But I really think like the famous quote, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I think that the hard workers out there, that pool has become much
You
smaller.
think it happened during COVID because everybody got like rich quick and they're like, whoa.
Everyone got rich quick. You could buy pictures of monkeys and make $100,000, work from home so you weren't under someone's domain. You're on your own, creator economy. Like, creators work harder than anyone I know.
Well, the problem is if something comes to you easily, you have no attachment to it. When you have an attachment to something, it gives you a much bigger, better, stronger connection, or trying to think of the right word for this. But like when things come easy, a lot of things came easy during COVID because things were handed to us. Like the American economy was just kind of handed to us. And once you get there, it's almost like, we talked about it with like deals. Like once you get to a certain number for a deal, you're like, I don't really go below that now. And I think a lot of people took that mindset where it's like, it came this easy to me, so why would I work harder now for less money? But the economy is kind of like pulling you back to a spot where you need to. I guess I feel that in some senses. I think maybe I look back on when I was younger, like 20, 21, 22, and I was like, my work ethic was impeccable. Like you wouldn't find me slacking ever, right? My eyes were bleeding by the end of the day, every single fucking day. I think now I've gotten to a point where I don't necessarily work as hard for as long, but I think
your work ethic still shits on 99% of people.
For sure. I think a lot of people are fucking lazy. I'm kind of like tossed on that because...
No, I'm not. I was for a period of time.
What about the people you work with that work for you?
Alex is one of the hardest working people I know. That's why we get along. I feel as a business owner and leader, and this is legally and taxes, and like I'm not, no one can work overtime at our company unless I want to pay time and a half because they're non-exempt or however it works. And so I'm like reluctant to give people work on the weekend and really.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Like that's how my mind works. I'm like, look,
from a legal standpoint, you guys work on hourly wages?
No, on salary, but your employees are only supposed to work 40 hours a week. That's what I'm saying.
We're in here 7 days a week.
Regardless, Alex works his ass off. My brother is working his ass off because he's required to. Like, just the travel is essentially working his ass off. Riley, our social media guy, works his ass off. But still, like, they do what they're told, and that's
I think a lot of it where it stems from is like, I agree. I don't think you really understand a person's work ethic until you're with them for 8 hours a day, which I am with these guys every single day. Yeah. I think it comes in spurts. Myself personally as well, I found when I have something to be working towards, my work ethic, naturally, obviously, because you're passionate about the project, it doesn't feel like work anymore. Your work ethic increases like tenfold. So as leaders, I think one of the biggest things is to make sure that we're working on things that are actually inspiring us. Because you don't have to have a high threshold for work ethic if you're working towards something that is inspiring to you, or that you are passionate about. Because again, like the work ethic comes easy. You like to do work on things that you fucking like. So I think a lot of that comes back to us as leaders. If you're building out a team, is to make sure people are on the same page and make sure people are working towards the same thing. Because if things get monotonous, like of course, the work ethic goes down because it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like people need purpose,
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of it comes back to that. And
well, that's why no one's working hard, because no one, they don't have these goals anymore. They have
like,
them.
fuck it, a pandemic hit.
Exactly. And then they're like, fuck it, like rent's expensive. And then they're like, I would like to have money. But no one I know, I mean, not no one, the majority of people are like, God, I would love to have money. I want the second house. So work your fucking ass off. But like that does not happen today. It genuinely does not happen in front of my face. Now there's always a balance, right? Because burnout's real, relationships are real. There's way more to life than just work. I 100% understand that.
It is very rare to find someone who really works their ass. You know what? Those are the people that are
turning you.
Those are the people. No. I mean, you have, yeah. I've always agreed with that. I think most people are very lazy. Most people want things to come easy to them. And as someone who I feel like hasn't taken that path, like I just respect people that are really, really hard work. I put work ethic over the top of the list, everything when it comes to respect. Like I respect. There are people that inspire me. Most of the people that inspire me are actually like well underneath where I am in terms of a lot wherever I like numbers, whatever you want to look at. People that inspire me are the ones that are grinding their fucking face off. Right. Because I see that and I'm like, that's what you have to do in order to get here. The people that are above you usually slow down a little bit. So like, it's cool that they got there, but the people that inspire me are the ones that I see passionate with really high work ethics. And I'm like, it's hard. I know how hard it is to be in that every single day, every single week, every single month, and it adds up over like a few years. Like even myself, I find very, very little inspiration in the fantasy football industry. The dudes that I find the most inspiring are the little ones, the dudes with like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm like, respect, because I know how fucking hard that is.
No, but respect to Matt Barry, right? He could have retired, right? And then he's on the road every week at the studio. Like it's so obvious who the
I respect anyone
are.
who's got there.
No, but there are people who have gotten there and they've slowed down. Like Overzet, he doesn't slow down, and he owes me $50 for that plug.
Overzet, lazy piece of shit.
There's also a part of the pandemic that I think softened us up, and that obviously contributes to the work ethic. Because look, it was very real. People got sick, lives changed, jobs were lost, and I think like people took a step back and they were like, you know what? My job didn't give a fuck about me, no matter how hard I worked, so I'm not going to work as hard.
You also have,
the people who worked their ass off, I guarantee they didn't get let go, or they got a job.
You also have an influx of people on like social that romanticize their life and like, oh, I just work like 3 hours a week and I just do this and that, and you see how rich I got or see how many followers I got, and a lot of people are like, fuck, why can't I just have that? And then when you continue to think that to yourself, it like erodes you. It's a little bit of a poison inside of you, and then it's hard for you to have a positive outlook on things. And then when you don't have a positive outlook on things, you're not inspired, you're not working hard and towards things. So it is a tough spot right now, I think.
But I don't think it is. And the whole reason I bring this up is to hopefully deliver some inspiration or value to the audience, to the listeners, to our little family here, is if you go work your ass off, we'll make a bet on you. Like I would bet on you if you're going to go work your ass off, which is a good update on big content. We discussed it when it first happened. We probably had 50, 60, 70 people making clips.
I've actually like would you say 50, 60, 70?
Maybe. Like at the
making clips?
The initial the initial outreach, right?
I thought you meant right now we have that.
No,
like, that's
we
crazy.
Have 1 or 2 people now after
exactly the
4 weeks.
It's exactly the way that we thought it would work out.
And like I kind of want to reward those people. I don't have to. I definitely don't have to. But like it's actually whoever runs Snapback Shorts. I don't know if it's Donald. I don't know who it is actually specifically.
It is. Whatever the bigger one, that's Donald.
He's killing it. And like that. You could, if I need an editor, like you're getting higher.
I was thinking, I want to convert that page into like the official big content TikTok page.
It's great.
So, and then even the ones that I post clip-wise, I told him, I was like, yo, anything that I edit, I'm also going to send over to you because then we'll have more volume for you to push out for that. I would like to, like to have one official page. And I was just thinking of a couple different pieces of content that I've seen over the last couple of weeks that were like inspiring me. There's one, Kevin Gates. I don't know if you know Kevin Gates, a rapper.
Yeah.
He has a quote. It's like a really quick, like 15, 20-second quote.
See, when you invest in something and you hustle and you work for something, you got a different type of attachment to it. You're going to have a cold day in hell for somebody to try to take this from you. We live by this, we die by this. We don't surrender, we don't retreat. Every man must search his own soul.
But it's really about like the attachment. When you build something from nothing, it's like your attachment is so substantial that in order for someone to take it from you, it's like they'd have to kill you to get it. Right. And you have to have, that's why it's so important to start from like nothing and grind your dick off to get there, because you don't have the appreciation if you don't do that. And the other one I was thinking of when it comes to like hard work was like, you seen the clip of Kobe? He's like, hey, if I get up at 4 and I train from 4 to 6 and then I rest and then I train from 9 to 10, 9 to 11. And then he basically goes on to say like he trains like 4 times in a day. These other dudes getting up at 10, train from 12 to 2, rest, train from 5 to 8, whatever. Then they're done for the day. It's like, it doesn't matter if you do that day in, day out, year in, year out, it doesn't matter how hard these dudes work during a summer. They might work their face off for an entire summer. He's like, I'm so far ahead of them because I've trained 4 times to their 2 times every single day over the 10-year span that you can't have these sprints that jump you ahead of me because I've been doing it for so long and I'm putting the work in every single day. So working hard is not just about the spurts. It's about the consistency, showing up every single day. Even if you're there and you're like, you can't put the 10 hours in, put a couple hours in. Because again, those little things start to add up.
I agree. It's the idea of like, just go to the gym and you'll probably do something. But I think that's the negotiation with yourself that I've actually started to internalize and say, and use in my everyday life, which is like, if that's your schedule, that's your schedule. If you are going to go commit to doing this every single day, like, don't say, well, I don't feel great, I'll do it for a couple hours. If you're sick, take a rest, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if that is the best. The point is, like, just go work hard.
Well, I find days where I think you got to be smart about it. For instance, like if there are days where I just slept like shit and I come into the office and I'm like, my brain's not working on a creative level that I need it to be to actually produce something good. Those are days I'll do like admin work for, right? Those are days I'll answer emails. Those are days I'll like put charts together that take absolutely no creativity from my brain to do so. So it's about being smart. And like days you go to the gym, it's like rather than doing 60 minutes of like upper body, you could just do core for 15 minutes and walk on the treadmill for 10. So there's like nuances to it. Yeah, maybe you're not sticking to your schedule, but I do think you can find ways to like, it's almost like you're looking at a big puzzle and you could put the big piece in, but there's also a little sliver piece that needs to eventually be put in. So put that piece in on the day that's the only strength that you could actually muster into. But I do think showing up every single day continues to add up over the long period of time.